I'm at the corner of Aquarium and Aquarium. Another great example of how not to get lost in Orleans. Thank you. So, good afternoon. I'm going to do another video about extra routes. And the reason for this is twofold. One, there's another area which is, well, not quite as messed up as my last video to drive, but pretty close. And it's a new section. The other reason we're going to talk about, rather than, having a day to prepare, I'm going to talk about, here you go. You get the paperwork, like I used to get it right in the morning. My route worked out so that I would drive past base and I'd be able to pull in, grab the paperwork from the manager, and I'd put it offside and I would finish the route and then have another school to do afterwards. And I had to do it right on the fly. So a couple of things that will make it work better for you. We'll get into that in a bit. So, okay, so you just got a call. All right, can you help out with another route? Okay, so what do you do? Well, I'm going to say, sure, no problem. Now, I'm on the road right now, so how do I get my lefts and rights? Well, if I still have schools left, I say, can you, fax or email it to whichever school is coming up, or whichever one's more convenient. All right, we'll go with that. All right, so luckily, the teachers are, where I usually drop off, they're pretty much on the ball. So they see, paperwork for Mark. Oh, okay, we're going to get him to him. Now, if they don't do that, you're going to have to park your bus. And if it's a small school, park so that you're not going to stop the other buses from going through. Put your hazards on. Be courteous. Run into the office. Don't forget your mask. Get the paperwork. Now, in my case, luckily the paperwork is there. This is basically, lefts and rights. So, in my case, because I've done so many routes, very rarely do I go, where's that road? I have a pretty good idea. Now, if you don't have a pretty good idea, you know what? They work. Map books work. So we're gonna pick on Jeremy Jodin. Okay. Now, Jeremy Jodin is a very new road, and it's off of Brian Coburn, and it's right across from Jerry Lalone. All right, so that's where it is. Okay. Now I'll show you that, a little bit better. But anyway, now this map book is only 2 years old, and I can already see it's missing roads. All right, so you've got to remember to keep your map book up to date, or fill it in as you go. I've seen bus drivers do that as well. Little side notes of where stuff is. Now, the other option, and this is why I'm doing it this way. You notice that I'm turned towards you. Bus is off. Okay. So I just, go into my map setting. And there, that's where I'm going to start my next route. Alright? Does it make sense? It makes sense to me. I can scroll in or I can scroll out. Scrolling out, that way I can see better where I'm going. Then I have a good idea. And what I usually do, especially if I have, 10 minutes early, I go to my first stop. I find somewhere to duck in so I'm not blocking traffic. And I do the route. I go flip, and I'm going through my phone or I'm going through my map book, making sure that all the stops kind of make sense to me. And then I do the route. And on top of it, first stop, I'm going to probably be on time or a minute or so late. And the reason for that is if my timing is a little bit off of the other bus drivers, if they're running a little bit late every time, then I catch all the kids. And you know, the first kid on the bus, are you the only kid on the bus? He says yes. Okay. Are you, this is the right time? Yes. So you know that every stop is going to follow in. And take your time at each stop. Okay? So when you get to the school, you might be 5 minutes later than he normally is or she is. But that way you've picked up all the kids. Alright. Another thing I'm going to mention. If you're covering extra routes, is the school French? Est-ce que c'est français? Ben, est-ce que français? Bon matin, bonjour, je vais à l'école, whatever. So, you know, that way you know that they're picking up for the right school. Because a lot of these schools, the stops sometimes are really close from French to English. Okay? So if the kids are English, greet them in English. Okay? And mention what school name is. Because they don't know who you are. Alright? Hey, I'm going to Happy School. You know, but you've got to say, are you getting on for this school? Are you getting on for that school? And when they get off, remind them, don't forget your stuff. Because how are you going to get their gym shoes or their lunch bags or their coats to them if you don't see them every day? It's just a good habit to get into. So that's it for this. And we're going to show you a better thing on the computer. See you in a bit. Here's the map. Okay, we're going to talk about Aquarium and Aquarium. Alright, so in my map book, there it is. You see, it's kind of a little bit out of date. But that's okay. I've drawn in the new roads. And, you know, like I said, you can always use your phone. And there's a better shot of the phone. But you know what? We're going to be a lot smarter because we've got access to a computer. So, I'm going to get ready. Shrink that down. Pull this up. Now, when I said this project was new, I wasn't kidding. This is like, I guess, last year's map. And the route itself is simple. We're coming off of Brian Colburn, and we're going to go onto Jérôme Jourdain, and then turn on Decor, and then turn on Aquarium. And our first stop here is Stickleback and Aquarium. Our second stop is Stickleback and Aquarium. And our third stop is Aquarium and Aquarium. So yeah, you could get mixed up, and I've heard some drivers getting mixed up doing this route, and I can see perfectly why. All the houses look the same, and the directions really, you know, aren't the clearest. And you see, Aquarium circles back on itself, so it can get rather difficult to understand where you're going in these places. And on top of it, half the signs weren't up at the time. Now they are, thank goodness. But it's not easy to do some of these routes if you're not used to any of these new roads. Alright, so you take care, alright? So now that you've seen that, we're going to let you see the drive I'm talking about. Enjoy it. Don't get too confused. Thank you. So you've made it through the whole video. Fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, if you get doing these extra roots, it's okay. You know, as long as it gets done, that's the important thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. So thank you very much. Take care. See you in my bus. Bye.